Bon.
Okay, I'm ready.
Ready, yeah? Sound good? Video good? Alright. Welcome to another episode of M.A.D. Today our guest is Nodey.
Đôi khi em trông thấy anh, đôi khi lại không. Cây thờ tôi cũng thờ hoa, thờ chim cũng thờ.
Nodey,
Thank you.
tu fais quoi dans la vie?
Oh, so much amazing French. Sorry for my voice. Xin lỗi, xin lỗi. No, I'm a musician. Yeah, I'm a musician, DJ, music producer. That's how we call, and basically that's how I define me as in a professional way. Yeah. Okay, I'm born in Paris. I only live in the Paris area all my life. So yeah, basically that's where I grew up. That's how I discovered music, and at some point, like 5 years ago, because I only live in Paris, I feel I get bored of Paris, and I decide to move and travel. First China, and after Saigon. Yeah, I was supposed to stay 3 months, and finally now it's been 4 years. Yeah.
China, that's interesting. Where did you go?
Shanghai mostly. Sometimes I go back and forth in Beijing, and I got an opportunity to do an artistic residency in Shanghai. So it was 6 months in Shanghai, and after I found another residency in Saigon, so I stayed 3 months in Saigon.
What made you decide to go to China?
Honestly, I didn't know why I want to move in Asia, but now I think I feel that I discovered the work of a crew. They do contemporary art. His name is Asian The Boys, and they based in Shanghai.
Yeah.
So I love that they work. I don't know any shit about contemporary art at that time, but I was really amazed. And now I understand, because I see Asian people do crazy things. It was the first time in my life I see that. Because I'm born in Paris, I only see that from afar, made by Western people, you know.
Yeah.
And the first time I see artists who look like me, to say basically, and they love my job. So it was like there was a love match, a working match. So yeah, they invited me to work in Shanghai. I shared them my needs to travel, and yeah, my friends say, oh, if you want to travel, if you like to live in a fancy hotel, there is a residency. You can live for 6 months in a 5-star hotel. I'm like, yeah, I want to try that. Yeah. And I submit, and I get accepted.
Yeah. How different was that 5-star hotel versus the suburbs that you grew up in?
Wow, of course it's different, man. It's like everything is different. Honestly, I don't know how to start. Like as I told you, I never traveled. I was a little bit envious of my friend who study abroad, who you know, at least do 1 year in London and
tourist.
Travel. Tourist is okay. I do some tourism, but I never left Paris more than 1 month. So yeah, to me, to be in China, it's like a totally other country. Of course, yeah, it was like completely different. Completely different.
When you left Paris, you were bored of the city, or bored of your job or your station in Paris?
I didn't know at that time. I guess it was a mix of everything. It's like I never left my family. I never be far of my family, and I guess also it was why I love to be like just to keep distant of my family, you know. Paris is, you know, you've been in Paris, is a small town, you know. It looks prestigious and stuff, but at the end it's really small. It's much more small than Saigon. I have a lot of friends with Keo, and I have a lot of friends in the music, but it's two different worlds. Yeah. And now I understand. I think I want to match it, and my only way to do that is to moving in Asia, and especially in Vietnam. You know, in Paris, the Vietnamese community, they're not so much involved in creative side in general. It changed, huh? Don't get me wrong, it changed. I think the generation below me, they do more into that. But all my big brother and big sister, they don't.
Restaurants or what? What do they do?
Not so much restaurant in my community, no, but more. Engineer, you know, at least 5 years of study, you know.
What did you study?
I did 1 year of economy, university. I dropped because it wasn't for me. And I studied to be sound engineer. My job was a sound engineer. And that's how, when I studied sound engineer, I discovered people who do music with computer.
Yeah.
So that's how I started.
What was the first like Vietnamese song that you remember? Because I know like Vietnamese music like inspire you a lot and works into your music a lot. Do you remember the first one?
I just have memories. It's not the first song, but my father, he's not the artist, but he was really involved in the cultural, let's say, the cultural side for the Vietnamese community in Paris. Yeah. So there was a, let's say, a cultural center. Did you see the movie about Ting you see it? Budget, right? And you see the beginning is in Paris. Yeah. So he make a gig in Paris. My father managed that place.
Oh shit! The exact place?
Exact place. So when I met the director, he showed me the footage. I called my father with the Facebook video. It was like, oh, they reproduce in studio the place you manage. But
does your dad remember that night or that gig?
I didn't ask him, but of course I see picture of my parents with Tin Concern. So of course he's a superstar, Tin Concern for the older Vietkiu people. So I guess he remember. But he worked. So he worked here for a few years. Yeah. Because also he have a normal job. He's a mathematics teacher. He was now he's retired, but he do that things. And so I have memories hanging out. As a baby, you stay here, you drawing, and you listen. Yeah. At that time, I have memories of traditional Vietnamese music. But
so he'll play it at home, and then
they play at home. So it's like a background, and I have for me. All my Vietnamese connection was during even like a TED, and the TED, the Vietnamese community in Paris, they organize big show, they invite Vietnamese artists, they do Cải Lương and stuff, sings, do chorus, more chorus, So that's my connection with Vietnamese music.
Do they play Paris by Night over there? Because I know in LA, when we grew up, that's all I hear in the background, Paris by Night,
We have that, but not so much. We have like everybody got DVDs. But no, I don't ever remember they come in Paris. I don't. For me, it's more. To be honest, it's more my American family, a little bit my parents, but it was not so much.
Nodey nghĩ có một ngày nào đó Nodey sẽ chán Việt Nam giống như Nodey chán Paris không?
Honestly, anh không biết. Có thể. Let's see. I don't think so much. The difference is maybe anh có gia đình, have a kids or it changed, you're not a student, a free guy, a single guy who was like, oh, let's travel, let's go here. Yeah. Now we have to think more with the team. But let's see. But I spent 30 years in France. Maybe it will be the same in Vietnam. Maybe 30 years. I don't know. You chang of Vietnam? Huh?
Next show.
Okay.
What is your opinion on the state of music of Vietnam? I know it's a big ass question. In your perspective, from let's say hip hop.
I think it's really interesting. It's like a lot of excitement. It's interesting. I'm French. The industry is really different. Like now in France, the industry is so strong, and so when you see from a French perspective, the Vietnam is like a. It's like a baby level.
Infant.
But that's why also is interesting, and that's also why I like Vietnam. I feel in France it's boring because people are too industrial, and here I see I like the amateur feeling. I really love that.
Yeah.
So there is these two sides. Like, of course, I would love maybe to see more professionalism, but in some way, the amateur thing, I think that's the thing
it's
who
raw,
makes really interesting in Vietnam. Yeah.
I know you've become a father in the last 2-3 years, right?
Yeah, 2 years and a half. Yeah.
2 years and a half. Has that changed the way you approach your work at all, or your music at all? Has it find its way in yet, or no?
I don't think so. Or maybe I didn't. I cannot explain. Just in terms of in a pragmatic way, my schedule is different.
Yeah.
I have less free time than before. So you have to manage that. Before, if I want to work all the night, it's okay. Now I have to be at home, and the big difference is before I was more creative at the night, and now I try to do office time.
Yeah.
So I guess also it changed my music. When you're night, you can be more in the night mood, a little bit more crazy. I guess I do a more down to earth music, I guess.
Yeah. I have to admit to you that I tried to cram your new documentary, the Nodey process, on my way to the interview today. So usually I would just skip through.
Yeah.
But fuck, I saw 5 minutes of it. I'm like, oh my God.
Okay.
I did not skip a single part.
Okay.
I really, really fucking want to finish it.
Okay, thank you.
Can you tell us and the people at home a little bit about the Nodey process, what the project's all about?
Okay, just to, I told you about my Vietnamese community, and I have some friends for a long time, and we grew up, I know them for more than 25 years, and they like, oh, maybe we should do something together. At the end, my friends follow me. Since that time, I work in the hip-hop industry in Paris. Until the time I'm like, damn, I think I have a kind of crisis. Maybe it's depression, I don't know, but I want to change my life. I want to move out. And they shoot me until, I'm in Vietnam, I met Sue, I have a family. So the result is this documentary, and there is a tour. We broadcast this documentary all around the world, and we're happy. Now the borders are open. We can finally broadcast in Vietnam. The 27 in Saigon, in this cinema is in District 1. So we will broadcast the movie, and it will be exciting if people can see that.
27 in October, right?
Yeah, October.
Yeah, the D scene in M.A.D, that one.
Yeah, exactly. Đúng rồi.
And will the directors and the crew be here too?
Yeah, that's why we want to broadcast now. They can finally come in Vietnam.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, let's do a screening, So everybody will be here.
Do you think creative people, sooner or later, more or less, would go through what you went through, as in have a crisis of they're stuck somewhere and they want to try something new?
I think it's a normal process. It depends on the people, of course, I think it's a normal thing to have a crisis, It depends on the big, how big is the level of the crisis. But
have you passed that crisis, you think?
I'm a father. I changed my country. I feel there is a new chapter. I'm really in peace now. I'm really happy.
Yeah.
3 years ago, I can't say I was really, really happy. I cannot say that, but now, I'm really happy. So, I guess, I heard there is a 30 years old crisis, the 50 years old crisis. So maybe let's wait in 10 years. I think.
So that crisis was 35, right? You were 35.
30 something. Yeah.
Okay. Before I let you go, is there anything you might want to say to somebody at home who might be looking up to you, or might want to follow music, or might want to do what you do?
I think you should do, I think we live in a time where everything is easy, in terms of gear, technicals, knowledge, everything is free, everything you can hijack, you got all the tutorial you got in YouTube, so just have to do, don't have fear, you have to try, and build your friends, your team. I think that's the advice. You just have to do, be curious and try to know yourself, and don't be afraid to get lost, to fall.
I think a lot of the creatives, the young creators at home, they really, really want to do this, but they're afraid of one thing or another. For example, oh, am I gonna make enough money to live? Or their parents want them to become something. So how do you deal with that as a young creative,
Okay, there is two things. The parent thing I see in Vietnam is a big thing, and I'm lucky. I have to thank my parents. My parents are quite open-minded. when I start to do, I want to do music, they're like, okay, you know, they're like, okay, try, you know, let's see. Of course, they're a little bit money issue, but also as I told you, I had a job before. It's like I start to do music at 28 years old, you know, so it's quite late. So before I was more serious. The other point you say was the money thing. Yeah, I dropped my job at 28.
Yeah.
So I start music at 20, between 20 and 28. I work daytime. The night I go in the studio with my friends, or the weekend. And it's like I have two lives. When I was 20, you know, you don't need to sleep a lot, you know. Now I'm old, I cannot do that anymore. Yeah. But at that time, yeah, I can sleep less. I was, you know, excited, and yeah, you can try, you know, just try. Keep your job or keep your study and do other thing in the side. And when you see there is something like, oh, there is some opportunities to do a real career, yeah, I think you should discuss with your family. I think you can convince them, I guess.
As you said, the Vietnam music industry is quite nascent, like it's new, right? So there's not enough economy in there to kind of support a new artist. So a lot of them need support from brands. Yeah. Through, you know, sponsorship or like doing commercials or whatever. Do you have to deal with that? Do you need to, like, when you work with brand, how do you approach it?
I think it's the both, you know. I think they approach me, I need money, and as you said, that's how it works in Vietnam. So I do a lot of advertising, music for advertising. That's how my income come first, you know. And I think is they come to see me because I know I guess they know that I provide one style of music, and I think they want to know my perspective, you know. And so I think we still have a dialogue, you know. And I know at the end we have to sell the product, so you know I don't want to try to change any. Too much, you know. It's just find the right balance, you know, and have to be careful in terms of communication, how to be clear. Sometimes I have to put my name, sometimes I don't put my name, you know. It just we have to learn to manage that, you know.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. Do you want to shout out to anybody at home, your crew or whatever? Feel free to do so.
Shout out everybody I know. Shout out my wife, yeah. Shout out my coffee, and shout out all the people who do Nodey process, because I do the interview just to shout out Nodey process. So shout out to Hành and everybody. Yeah.
The Nodey process documentary. Showing on 27th of October at Decin on Mạc Đỉnh Chi. So be sure to catch that. Nodey's going to be there. His crew's going to be there. We will be there as well to check it out. Cool. Thanks, everyone. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.